Greetings, welcome to Busme US. I'm Dr. Polar Human, and this screencast will explain planning a network and showing you how to upload a network plan to the Busme Transportation site. In an earlier screencast, I explained the underlying Busme data model. In this data model, the deployment is the top level component. The next component down is the network. So a deployment is comprised of a collection of networks. A network is the other manageable piece of a Busme schedule. It groups together bus routes by some arbitrary criteria that is selected by you. This could be by region, direction, color, you name it. A network is merely a collection of bus routes, and therefore transitively, a deployment is nothing but a collection of bus routes. Networks may be developed in one deployment and copied to other deployments. Therefore, you and a different administrator may develop different networks in isolation using your separate deployments different from the intended deployment. Then you both may copy the networks to a common deployment. That way, you and your staff may work in parallel on different routes without affecting each other until the time comes to combine them. The only constraint here is that no two networks may contain the same route. One plans a particular network by creating a network plan on your local machine. A network plan is a folder containing CSV files. These CSV files contain definitions for your routes and their services and journeys. You convert the folder to a zip file and then upload the zip file to a particular network on your site. If the plan is in good order, the network will be populated with your planned routes. A CSV file is a type of text file that is produced and can be read by spreadsheet programs such as Microsoft Excel, LibreOffice Calc, or even Google Spreadsheets. The acronym CSV stands for comma-separated values. CSV files are a type of plain text that contain lines of columns which are separated by commas. A zip file is a single file that contains a compressed version of the entire folder. In Microsoft systems, creating a zip file of a folder is as simple as right-clicking on the folder and selecting the Send to Compressed Zip Folder menu item. If you need any further help on this, there are plenty of screencasts out there on YouTube to show you how to create a zip file from a folder or a directory on Linux, Apple, or Microsoft systems. In an earlier screencast, I created a site for the New Paltz bus loop in New Paltz, New York. In another previous screencast, we explored some of the Busme data model in this site, as I already had planned the main network. I will show you how I did that. The first thing I'm going to do is create a new deployment as my workspace. I click on the New Deployment button, and I will give it a name that I can work with, such as Polar's deployment. And I'll leave the note empty at this point and hit the Create button. Next, you will see that I have the Polar deployment here and there are no networks in it. It's empty. I can hit the Plan button and that will take me to the deployments page. Here we can see there are no networks listed. I click on the New Deployment button and I'll give it a name that I can work with. I'll just give it Polar's deployment and maybe say this is Polar's workspace and hit the Create button. You can see now that here's Polar's deployment. It's owned by me, and there's no networks in it, so therefore it's empty. Now I can go to the deployment page or the plan page, which is the same page, and click into that deployment. Now we can see here that there are no networks listed. And what we really want to do is create a network. That's the first thing we have to do. So we go to the Add New Network. Now we're going to create a new network and we'll give it a name for what it is. The New Paltz Loop. and we'll leave the description empty right now, and we'll just create the network. After this network is created, it brings me directly to the networks page. We can see that the network is empty as it has no routes, no services, or journeys. At this point, I want to upload my network plan file to the site for processing. To do this, I hit the Plan Network button, and that brings me to the network planning page. This page gives me status as to the processing of my plan file. The plan is processed by our computers in the background and may take some time. You may check on this processing in the status below. To upload a new plan, I click on the Upload New Definition button, and it brings me to an upload page where I may select the zip file to upload from my local computer. I click on the Choose File button, and that brings me up a file dialog, which may look a little different to your Microsoft users, but is essentially the same thing. I select the New Pulse Loop zip file, and the dialog disappears and leaves me to check to see if I selected the correct file, and then I click Update Network. This brings me to the processing status page again. We are waiting for this job to start, and that might take some time as our background jobs may be quite busy. And we can see now that it has started, and we are looking at our progress with some messages coming out, and I will not explain those at this point, but we can see our progress has been up to 50%, and in a short time it will complete. And now we see that it is completed, and now we are allowed to upload a new definition if we choose. We check the processing log, and this has a bunch of our times, and we can see there are no processing errors, and therefore we have a good plan. Now if we back up, we can go back to the networks plan page, the network page, and we can see now that we have routes 2, there's 2 routes, 2 services, and 23 journeys, and we have 2 route codes, 2 and 1. As with the earlier screencasts, we could explore the routes by looking at them, and also look at a map of the entire network. And the network will show the 2 routes that we have, and they will highlight each route as you will by pointing the mouse on the routes on the right side. Well, that's it for now. It would be nice to look inside the New Pulse Loop folder and look at the CSV files, but we will save that for the next screencast. This concludes the screencast on uploading the network plan file to your site. I'm Dr. Polar Human for Busme US. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the ride.